Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. We were in the final week of our series called Good News for Anxious Christians this week. Our prompt was the sentence, you don't have to be good. Our main text was Romans 5 verses 6 through 11. That's one of those really good, succinct explanations of the gospel. And so make sure that you take a chance to read through it as a group, Romans 5, 6 through 11. The big idea this week was that God's faithfulness to you will produce goodness in you. You know, goodness is mentioned as a fruit of the Spirit. But that your goodness is not a prerequisite. It's not a requirement for God's faithfulness. And it will never be a prerequisite for God's faithfulness. God will be faithful to you just because God is faithful, not because you're good enough. Question number 1, what was most interesting or encouraging to you from the sermon this week? Question number 2, what was challenging for you? What raised questions? Again, what did you not understand or maybe not agree with? It's okay not to agree with everything. Question number 3, why do you think that the Bible is filled, beginning to end, with these commands to do good and be good, but then also filled with these reminders that you're just not very good? Both of those things exist alongside from Genesis to Revelation in the Bible. Why do you think that God intentionally did that? Question number 4, how do we balance this tension between being zealous to do good, which the Bible teaches us to do, without falling into this anxiety trap of constantly worrying if we're good enough Christians? Somewhat related to that, question 5, last question, is do you tend to err on the side of being the exhausting moral zealot who's always walking around worrying if you're good enough and you're always worried if other people are good enough? Like, is that your struggle, your temptation? Or is your struggle maybe using your lack of goodness as an excuse for not stepping up to do the things God has asked you to do? You know, are you the person who's like, I'm not good and I'll never be good and maybe one day I'll be good enough, but until then I'm just not really going to worry about stepping up and embracing God's call in my life? Our action step was super simple. It's just to be grateful that God is good. You know, so instead of sitting around obsessing over whether or not you are good or good enough or whatever, just find some ways to draw your attention to God and God's goodness this week. I hope you've really enjoyed the series. I've enjoyed it. It's been super helpful for me personally, and so I hope it's been just as helpful for you all. Hope you have a great week, great summer, and I'll see you on Sunday. Bye.